see if they'll listen to this. So I started playing it, and it was just, you could hear a pin drop. So, but with junior high kids, you're not sure, are they listening or are they sleeping? So we get about halfway through, and I shut it off. And they, hey, put that back on tune. So I knew they were listening. It was so powerful. I said, what a great medium this is that you don't hear anymore. So that got me interested in it. And then, of course, I got this opportunity to come here and work with Helen Borchers and Dana Leach. And I couldn't pass it up because I knew how great this medium is with the radio drama. So that's why I'm here. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're here for the same reason, because you think that radio drama is a great medium. We have 2 emergency exits, this way and that way. These are emergency exits, not exits like, I wonder what the score of the ball game is, I'll be back. Or that tall guy's making me nervous, you know, something like that. So just emergency exits, and you'll know it's an emergency because the actors will be running and screaming on their way out. Okay? So follow the actors. Yeah, don't get in their way. That's not a good idea at all. And so we have that. Anything else? Oh, I am directing from the stage because I'm also part of it. So I will be waving my arms around. I will be pointing at the booth and pointing at the actors and maybe behind me, and sometimes just pointing randomly for no reason at all. But I don't want that to disturb you. I don't want you to go, what is he doing? What's the matter with that guy? Medication off? But yeah. And then if you kindly turn off all cell phones, because they didn't have cell phones in those days, so we don't want a cell phone, you know, with a great ringtone going off in the middle of our radio performance. Okay. I hope you enjoy the Horla and the Hitchhiker. All right. Okay. If they come, just
they're going to get to sit in the front row.
front row, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right.
Perfect. Not upstairs.
Okay, so now we're gonna turn into 1940s radio actors right before your very eyes. Watch this change. It's so great. Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing good.
I'm doing good. Okay, everybody got their scripts? Are you ready on the Foley table? You got all your stuff going?
You guys want to do it with us?
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, everybody.
Come on.
We're on the air in 30 seconds. We have 30 seconds before we're on the air.
All right,
Is the booth ready? Okay. Booth is ready. Got your lines? Okay. All right, here we go. We're on the air in 5, 4, 3.
KBRD, Long Beach.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 kinds of stories. Those that you can take to bed with you and they relax you and put your mind at ease. And then there is the other kind. And our story tonight is the other kind. I still do not know whether it was the shadow of the madness to which the author himself so tragically succumbed, or whether there really was an evil something that could not be seen or described. Why don't you decide for yourself? Here are the facts in the case as set forth by Guy de Maupassant in his immortal story, The Horla.
Tonight, The Horla by Guy de Maupassant, brought to you by the Historical Society of Long Beach, where history lives.
Mystery in the air.
May 8th, 1889. What a lovely day it was. I spent all the morning lying in the grass in front of my house, the house in which I was born and grew up. It is a wonderful house, and I love it. From my windows, I can see the Seine, which flows along the side of my garden, the great and wide Seine, which goes to Rouen and Le Havre, and is covered by boats passing to and fro. Down to the left lies Rouen, the whole city dominated by the spire of the cathedral, and the full of bells which sound through the air on fine days, even as far as my home. What a wonderful morning. I was almost sorry when Marie, she's my housemaid, you know, when she interrupted me.
Your luncheon is ready, monsieur.
Oh, merci, Marie. But it seems a pity to go in the house. Do you like it here, Marie?
Oh, yes, sir. I like it very much. I love to watch the boats go by on the Seine.
You do? So do I. Oh, see that one? The big schooner? It's being pulled by the little tug. Look, it's no bigger than a fly.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? So clean and white and shining.
Yes, she's all white and a three-master. Brazilian, I think. Oh, yes, I see the flag. It is Brazilian. Oh, she has had a long journey from South America to pass my house.
You love this place very much, don't you, monsieur?
Yes, Marie, I love it. I can feel those deep roots which attach a man to the soil on which his ancestors were born and died, to the villages, to the atmosphere itself. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you, Marie?
No, sir. But I do know that if you don't come into the house soon, your luncheon will be cold.
All right, Marie. I'll come in. May 12th. For some reason, I have had a slight feverish attack for the last few days, and I feel low-spirited and ill. I have continually a horrible feeling of impending danger, an apprehension of some coming misfortune or of approaching death. I have never experienced anything like this before. If it continues, I think I will have to see my doctor.
Look, I've told you. Your pulse is rapid and your eyes are slightly dilated. Otherwise, you're in splendid condition.
But doctor, why is it then when evening comes on, a feeling of oppression seizes me? Just as if a night concealed something horrible.
Probably just a slight attack of indigestion.
Indigestion? Yesterday when I was walking in the forest of Romer, why did it suddenly seem to me that I was being followed? That someone was walking at my heels. Close, quite close to me, near enough to touch me. And yet when I turned around, I saw nothing behind me but the path between the tall trees, horribly empty. Can you explain that by indigestion? Can you? Huh?
Here's a bromide. If you will take this and several cold showers daily, I'm sure your fears will vanish and you'll be able to sleep without any further trouble.
All right, doctor. Thank you very much. Who's there?
It is I, Marie.
Oh, just a moment. Just a moment. Yes, Marie.
Are you all right? You were screaming and calling out.
Was I?
It waked the servants.
I'm sorry. I must have been having a nightmare.
Oh, is that all?
Marie, if you dreamed that someone was looking at you, touching you, taking your neck in his hands, squeezing it with all his might in order to strangle you, do do you think you would cry out too?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sure I should.
All right. Tell the other servants I shall try to be more quiet.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good night.
Hey, look, Marie, my water carafe.
Your water carafe, mister?
It was full when I went to bed.
Oh, yes, sir. I filled it last night.
Look, it is empty. I haven't touched it, and it is empty.
Yes, sir.
Somebody has drank the water from my carafe. Somebody has been in this room. Something drank that water.
Well, I don't know who could have, sir. Unless perhaps you yourself in your sleep.
Yes, of course. That's it. I must have done it myself. Marie, tell them to pack my things. I am going to Paris. I am leaving the first thing in the morning.
Yes, sir.
July 12th, Paris. I must have lost my head during the last few weeks. At home, my mental state bordered on madness, for I had believed, yes, I had believed that an invisible being lived beneath my roof. How perfectly ridiculous it all seems now. 24 hours in Paris have completely restored my equilibrium, and tonight I am going to dine at the house of my cousin, Madame Sable, and Dr. Perrant is going to be there. He's the famous specialist for nervous disorders. I shall ask him, and I'm sure he can finally put my mind at rest about this silly hallucination. Dr. Perrant, I've been wanting to ask you, have you ever known of a case where a person feels that he is, how should I put it, not entirely in command of his own soul?
Oh, it's curious that you should ask me that.
Curious? Why?
Well, because only now in 1889, after all these years, we're on the verge of discovering one of the most important secrets of nature. Ever since man has thought, he has felt himself close to a mystery which has been impenetrable to his gross and imperfect senses.
Whatever are you talking about, Dr. Perrant?
Apparitions, my dear madame. Invisible spirits.
You doctors, you're always being so mysterious.
Oh, not at all. For more than a century now, men have seemed to have had a presentiment of something new. Mesmer and some others have put us on an unexpected track, and we have arrived at really surprising results.
Oh, you're just trying to frighten us.
No, my dear. If you think so, would you like me to try to send you to sleep, madame?
It would be a novel experience. If you can do it.
If I can, it will answer your cousin's question.
Yes, it certainly would.
Okay. Now, madame, if you'll just sit in this easy chair, like so. There you go. Yes? All right. Now, you must let your mind go completely blank and look fixedly in my eyes. That's right. Okay. You are going to sleep. Sleep. Going to sleep. Sleep. You see, her eyes are becoming heavy. Her mouth is twitching. To sleep. Sleep.
Doctor, I do
deeper.
not like this.
Sleep.
It frightens me.
There. She is asleep. An easy subject, I must say so. Now, if you will stand directly behind her chair, I will proceed with the experiment. I hand her an ordinary pasteboard index card, like so. Now, madame, you hold in your hand a looking glass.
Yes, I am holding a looking glass.
What do you see in it?
I see my cousin standing behind my chair.
And what is he doing?
He's twisting his ear.
But doctor, she cannot see me behind her by looking at a piece of cardboard.
Of course she can't. She sees you through her mind. Or someone's mind. This troubles you, doesn't it?
Yes, it troubles me.
But it answers your question.
No, it does not. That's common knowledge, Doctor. It's an axiom that human beings can be dominated by human beings. But what if a human being is dominated by something else? Something not human. What then, Doctor? August 6th. I am back at home. I know now it is useless to struggle. Somebody possesses my soul and dominates it. Somebody orders all my acts, all my thoughts. I am nothing except slave and terrified spectator of all I do. Who is he? This invisible being that rules me. This unknowable spirit. This rover of a supernatural race. He must have a name. I know he has. I feel it. Someday it would come to me. Oh, if I can only leave my house, go away, escape, and never return. But I cannot. This being I cannot call by name will not let me. I am helpless. What can I do? What can I do? It is only 2 o'clock. The whole night is before me. Oh, how still it is. And the stars, how bright they are. Who inhabits those faraway regions, and what do they know that we do not know? Will not one of them someday appear on our earth to conquer it? We are so weak, so defenseless. What was that? I heard the rustle of paper, yet there is no wind. Absolutely no wind. That book, the one there on the table under the lamp. It's incredible. The page has turned. The page lifted itself up and fell down upon the others as if a finger had turned it over. My armchair appears empty. But no, it isn't. No, he is there. I know he is, sitting in my place, and he is reading. I can stand it any longer. I will grasp him. Ah! He ran away. He ran away. And before I could reach him, he ran away. And the window closed after him. He is afraid of me. Afraid of me. What do you call yourself, you evil shade? Whatever it is, someday I will catch you and crush you.
Monsieur! Oh, monsieur! Are you all right?
Yes? What?
We heard the noise and we wondered, another nightmare, monsieur?
No, not a nightmare this time. I was awake. Tell me, Marie, do you believe in invisible things?
Invisible?
Yes, invisible beings that dominate you.
Oh, I read an article about that in the paper today.
What did it say?
That somewhere in Brazil, I think.
Brazil?
People are frightened, leaving their houses, saying they're pursued by invisible beings which feed on their life while they're asleep. Like vampires, you know?
Marie, that is where he came from.
Who, monsieur?
Don't you remember the day we saw the little tug pulling that big Brazilian schooner up the river?
Yes.
Remember, she looked so white. All white. And he was on board. Yes, he came from there, where his race originated. And he saw me. And he saw my white house. And he sprang from the ship. Oh, now I understand. Don't you? Don't you?
No, monsieur, I don't.
No, no, you couldn't. It's all right, Marie. Go to bed. There is nothing wrong. Don't worry anymore. Go back to sleep.
Yes, sir.
Now I know. How can I help knowing? It's obvious. Yes, the rule of man is over, and he has come. He has arrived. But what is his name? What do you call yourself? What's that? Ah, now I know. He is shouting it out. The Horla. That's it. The Horla. He haunts me. He is within me. He is becoming my soul. I shall kill him.
There, monsieur, the iron shutters on the windows and door are complete. Though why anybody wants half-inch iron shutters on their bedroom is more than I can see. Well, at least it will keep everything out.
I don't want to keep things out. I want to keep something in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Never mind. If you are finished, take your tools and go. My housekeeper will pay you.
Yes, monsieur. Good day, monsieur.
Good day. Now I am ready. Tonight he will come, but tonight I am ready for him. I am ready for him. He is here. I feel it. At last, he is here. But I don't want to alarm him. I will casually close the iron shutters. So casually, as if I am preparing for bed. Now I will start to close the iron door, as if I am shutting myself in for the night. But instead of shutting myself in, I will shut myself out. It is done. He is inside. He cannot escape. Downstairs, as fast as I can run. Good. The lamp is still burning. Fire. Now that will dispose of him. Fire! The house is dry as tinder. It won't take long. See? The flames are reaching the ceiling already. I better get out before I burn myself up too. Here, I can watch from here. How slow the house is burning. You don't suppose... No. There, yes, a tongue of flame licking out the top of the window. Another, and another. Oh, see it burn. My house, my beautiful house. But it is more beautiful now, in flames. Because he is inside. He will burn too. Yes, and I will be free. Free of the Horla forever. Yes, it is burning. Let it burn, let it burn. And now the whole place is in flames. Nothing can stop it. Burn. Let it burn. throughout the whole countryside a monstrous funeral pyre. And he is burning too. He, my prisoner, the new being, the new master, the Horla. There, the roof has fallen in. It is over. That is the end for him. He is dead. Yes. But is he dead? No. No, a spirit would never fear premature destruction. But we fear it. All our human terror springs from that. And then after man, what? The Horla. Yes, after us, who can die any day by any accident, comes he who can die only at his own proper hour, and because he has touched the limits of his existence, he is not dead. What can I do? What can I do? There's only one thing I can do. I can destroy myself.
What?
Yes. I must destroy myself.
Eduardo, what are you doing?
No, let me go, let me go. I know I am Eduardo Mora. I know it's a story. It's by Dima Pusanta. Yes, I know it's Friday night, and we are on the air. But it's the Horla.
Eduardo, come on, get a hold of yourself.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I am so sorry I got so excited. But you were warned at the beginning. This is a very uncomfortable story.
We'll be right back to tell you who is in our play after this word from our sponsor.
Good evening. My name is Peter, and I'm here to tell you about one of my very favorite organizations, the Historical Society of Long Beach. They invite you to its newest exhibit, Chrome, Cruising Car Clubs and Drag Strips, celebrating Southern California's mid-century car culture. Oh, but what has got my engine revved up is the 23rd annual Cemetery Tour, which features graveside presentations by professional and volunteer actors who relate the life and demise of the person lying in rest. Each year's program features a number of stories. Some are individuals who helped shape the city's political past. Others are ordinary people whose tales remind us that rich or poor, famed or nearly forgotten, everyone has a story to tell. Period costumes worn by all the performers further heighten like the experience with an aurora of authenticity. The tour is appropriate for families and all ages. There is nothing scary about the vignettes or the location. Oh, that's a shame. But you will have a marvelous time anyway.
The Historical Society Cemetery Tour is on Saturday, October 27th, 2018. The gates open at 8:30 a.m., performances begin at 9 and run through 2:40 p.m. Go to their webpage, hslb.org, for more information and to buy tickets. The Historical Society of Long Beach, making history live. You've been listening to The Horla by Guy de Maupassant, starring Eduardo Mora in the lead, Joe Montanari as Dr. Perrin, Joe McLaughlin as the voice of mystery, the Doctor, and Madame Sable, introducing Kate Doherty as Marie. This is Joe McLaughlin reminding you to stay tuned for suspense, following on most of these radio stations after this message. October. Such a perfect time to visit those that aren't with us anymore. You might find yourself in a lonely cemetery on a moonless night when you turn and the fog closes in and the icy grip of fear seizes your heart and a scream begins to escape from your lips. Because you forgot to bring flowers. You should have gone to Linda McCoy's Flowers. We've been serving Long Beach since 1985. FTD designated McCoy's a top 1,000 member in the United States because of their demand for quality. Please visit our 3,000 square foot retail store, and along with the very freshest of flowers, you'll find silk and dried arrangements, balloons, giftware, and unique cards. Melinda McCoy's Flowers is located at 611 Carson Street in Long Beach. You can call toll-free, 1-800-937-9583. We're open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 4. So turn any occasion into a special occasion with flowers from Melinda McCoy's, and leave the screams at home.
KBRD takes pleasure in bringing you Suspense, brought to you in part by EJ's Pub. Suspense, Columbia's parade of outstanding thrillers, produced by Dana Leach, directed by Joe Montanari. The notable melodramas from stage and screen, fiction and radio, presented each week to bring you to the edge of your chair, to keep you in suspense. The Mercury Theater presented tonight's radio play for the first time in 1941. It was hailed right away as a classic of the medium. It was written by Louise Fletcher, who at the time was married to composer Bernard Herrmann, who scored films for Hitchcock, among other giants of screen and radio.
I've never met anybody who didn't like a good ghost story. But I know a lot of people who think there are a lot of people who don't like a good ghost story. So for the benefit of these, at least, I will go on record at the outset of this evening's entertainment with the sober assurance that although blood may be curdled on this program, none will be spilt. There's no shooting, knifing, throttling, axing, or poisoning here. No clanking chains, no cobwebs, no bony and or hairy hands appearing from secret panels, or better yet, bedroom curtains. No, if it's any part of that dear old phosphorescent foolishness that people who don't like ghost stories don't like, then again I promise you, we haven't got it. Not tonight. For what we do have is a thriller. If it's half as good as we think it is, you can call it a shocker. A story doesn't have to appeal to the heart. It can also appeal to your spine. Sometimes you want your heart to be warmed, and sometimes you want your spine to tingle. The tingling, it's to be hoped, will be quite audible as you listen tonight to The Hitchhiker. That's the name of our story, The Hitchhiker.
I'm in an auto camp on Route 66, just west of Gallup, New Mexico. If I tell it, perhaps it'll help me, keep me from going crazy. I got to tell this quickly. I'm not crazy now. I feel perfectly well. except that I am running a slight temperature. My name is Ronald Adams. I'm 36 years of age, unmarried, tall, dark with a black mustache. I drive a 1940 Buick, license number 6Y175189. I was born in Brooklyn. All this I know. I know that I'm at this moment perfectly sane, but it's not me who's gone mad, but something else, something utterly beyond my control. I've got to speak quickly. At any minute, the link may break. This may be the last thing I ever tell on earth, the last night I ever see the stars. 6 days ago, I left Brooklyn to drive to California.
Okay, goodbye, son. And good luck to you, my boy.
Goodbye, Mother. Here, give me a kiss, then I'll go.
No, I'll come with you to the car.
No, it's raining. Stay here at the door. Hey, what's this, tears? I thought you promised you wouldn't cry.
No, I know, dear. I'm sorry. I hate to see you go.
Mother, I'll be back. I'll only be on the coast for 3 months.
No, it isn't that. It's the whole trip, Ronald. I wish you weren't driving.
Oh, Mother, there you go again. Listen, people do it every day.
I know. Now, you'll be careful, though, won't you? Promise me that you're going to be, extra careful. Don't fall asleep or drive fast or pick up any strangers on the road.
Geez, Louise, you'd think I was still 17 to hear you talk.
You wire me as soon as you get to Hollywood, okay?
Of course.
All right, want your son, please?
Of course I will. Don't you worry. There isn't anything going to happen. It's just 8 days of perfectly simple driving on smooth, decent, civilized roads with a hot dog or a hamburger stand every 10 miles. I was in fine spirits. The drive ahead of me, even the loneliness, seemed like a lark. But I reckoned without him. Crossing Brooklyn Bridge that morning in the rain, I saw a man leaning against the cables. He seemed to be waiting for a lift. There were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. He was carrying a cheap overnight bag in one hand. He was thin, nondescript, with a cap pulled down over his eyes. Now, I would have forgotten him completely, except that just an hour later, while crossing the Pulaski Skyway over the Jersey Flats, I saw him again. At least, it looked like the same person. He was standing now with one thumb pointing west. I couldn't figure out how he got there. But then I thought, probably one of those fast trucks picked him up, beat me to the Skyway, and then let him off. I didn't stop for him. Then, late that night, I saw him again. It was on the new Pennsylvania Turnpike between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh. It's 265 miles long with a very high speed limit. I was just slowing down for one of the tunnels when I saw him standing under an arc light by the side of the road. I could see him quite distinctly, the bag, the cap, even the spots of fresh rain spattered over his shoulders. He helloed at me this time.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, I tell you, I stepped on the gas like a shot. It's lonely country through the Alleghenies, and I had no intention of stopping. Besides, the coincidences, or whatever it was, gave me the willies. I stopped at the next gas station.
Yes, sir.
Fill her up.
Certainly, sir. Check your oil, sir?
No thanks.
Nice night, isn't it?
Yes, it hasn't been raining here recently, has it?
Not dropping rain all week.
Oh? Well, I suppose that hasn't done your business any harm.
Oh, people drive through here all kinds of weather. Most of the distance, you know. There aren't many pleasure cars out on the turnpike this season of the year.
I suppose not. What about, hitchhikers?
Hitchhikers? Here?
What's the matter? Don't you ever see any?
Not much. If we did, it'd be a sight for sore eyes.
Why is that?
Oh, and gotta be a fool who started out to hitch rides on this road. Look at it.
Then you've never seen anybody.
No. Maybe they get the lift before the turnpike starts. I mean, you know, just for the toll house. But then to be a mighty long ride, most cars wouldn't want to pick up a guy for that long a ride. And, you know, this is a pretty lonesome country here. Mountains and woods. You ain't seen anybody like that, have you?
Oh, no. Oh, no, not at all. I was just, it's a technical question, that's all.
I see. Well, that'll be just $1.49 with the tax.
The thing gradually passed through my mind as sheer coincidence. I had a good night's sleep in Pittsburgh. I didn't think about the man at all next day until just outside of Zanesville, Ohio. I saw him again. It was a bright, sunshiny afternoon. The peaceful Ohio fields, brown with the autumn stubble, lay dreaming in the golden light, and I was driving slowly, drinking it in, when the road suddenly ended in a detour. In front of the barrier, he was standing. Let me explain about his appearance before I go on. I repeat, there was nothing sinister about him. He was as drab as a mud fence, nor was his attitude menacing. He merely stood there, waiting, almost drooping a little, the cheap overnight bag in his hand. He looked as though he'd been waiting there for hours. And he looked up, he hailed me, he started to walk forward.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Come on. No, not just now, sorry.
Going to California.
No, not today. The other way, going to New York. Sorry. After I got the car back on the road again, I felt like a fool. Yet the thought of picking him up, of having him sit beside me, was somehow unbearable. At the same time, I felt more than ever unspeakably alone. Hour after hour went by. The fields, the towns, ticked off one by one. The light changed. I knew now that I was going to see him again. And though I dreaded the sight, I caught myself searching the side of the road, waiting for him to appear. You sell sandwiches and pop here, don't you?
Yeah, they do in the daytime, but we close up now for the night.
I know, but I was wondering if you could possibly let me have a cup of coffee, black coffee.
No, not this time of night, mister. My husband is the cook. He's in bed.
No, hey, don't shut the door, please. Listen, just a minute ago, there was a man standing here, right beside this stand, a suspicious-looking man. I don't mean to disturb you. You see, I was driving along when I just happened to look, and there he was.
What was he doing?
What was he doing? Well, nothing.
You've been taking a nip of schnapps. That's what you've been doing. Now you get on your way. I call off Shelver Oaks.
I got into the car again and drove on slowly. I was beginning to hate the car. If I could have found a place to stop, to rest a little. I was in the Ozark Mountains of Missouri now. The few resort places there were closed, only an occasional log cabin, seemingly deserted. That's all that broke the monotony of the wild, wooded landscape. I had seen him at that roadside stand. I knew I'd see him again, maybe at the next turn of the road. I knew that when I saw him next, I would run him down. But didn't see him again. I didn't see him until late next afternoon. I stopped the car at a sleepy little junction just across the border into Oklahoma to let a train pass by, when he appeared across the tracks, leaning against a telephone pole. Perfectly airless dry day. The red clay of Oklahoma was baking under the southwestern sun. Yet, there were spots of fresh rain on his shoulders. Oh, I couldn't stand that. Without thinking, blindly, I started the car across the tracks. He didn't even look up at me. He was staring at the ground. I stepped on the gas hard, veering the wheel sharply toward him. I could hear the train in the distance now, but I didn't care. And then, something went wrong with the car. It stalled right on the tracks. The train was coming closer. I could hear the cry of his whistle. Still he stood there. Now I knew he was beckoning me to my death. Well, I frustrated him that time. The starter worked at last. I managed to back up, and when the train passed, he was gone. I was all alone in the hot, dry afternoon. After that, I knew I had to do something. I didn't know who this man was or what he wanted of me. I only knew that from now on, I mustn't let myself be alone on the road for 1 minute. Oh, hello there. Like a ride?
Well, what do you think? How far are you going?
Where do you want to go?
Amarillo, Texas.
I'll drive you there.
Gee. You mind if I take off my shoes? My dogs are killing me.
Sure, go right ahead.
Gee, what a break this is.
Hitchhike much?
Sure, only it's tough to sometimes in these great open spaces to get the brakes.
Yeah, I should think it would be. Though, I'll bet you get a good pickup in a fast car, and if you did, you could get places faster than, say, another person in another car, couldn't you?
I don't get you.
Well, take me for instance. Suppose I'm driving across the country, say at a nice steady clip, about 45 miles an hour. Couldn't a girl like you just standing beside the road waiting for a lift beat me to town, or any town, provided she got picked up every time in a car doing 65 to 70 miles an hour?
I don't know. What difference does it make?
Oh, no difference. It's just a crazy idea I had sitting here in the car.
Imagine spending your time in a swell car thinking of things like that.
What would you do instead?
What would I do? If I was a good-looking fellow like yourself, why, I'd just enjoy myself every minute of the time. I'd sit back and relax. And if I saw a good-looking girl along the side of the road, hey, look out!
Did you see him too?
See who?
That man standing beside the barbed wire fence.
I didn't see anybody. It was nothing but a bunch of cows in the wire fence.
No?
What'd you think he was doing? Trying to run into the barbed wire fence?
There was a man there, I tell you. A thin, gray man with an overnight bag in his hand. And I was trying to run him down.
Run him down? You mean kill him?
You say you didn't see him back there? You sure?
I didn't see a soul, as far as that's concerned.
Watch for him the next time. Keep watching. Keep your eyes peeled on the road. He'll turn up again. Maybe any minute now. There! Look, there!
Ah! How does this door work? I'm getting out of here.
Did you see him that time?
No, I didn't see him that time. And personally, mister, I don't expect to never see him again. All I want to do is go on living. I don't see how well I will very long, driving with you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please, don't go.
So if you'll excuse me...
You can't go. Listen, how would you like to go to California? I'll drive you to California.
Seeing pink elephants all the way? No thanks. Thanks just the same.
Listen, please, just 1 minute, please.
You know what I think you need, big boy? Not a girlfriend, just a good dose of sleep.
Please.
There, I got it now.
No, you can't go, please.
Leave your hands off me, do you hear? Leave your hands off me.
She ran away from me, as though I were a monster. A few minutes later, I saw a passing truck pick her up. I knew then that I was utterly alone. I was in the heart of the great Texas prairies. There wasn't a car on the road after the truck went by. Tried to figure out what to do, how to get a hold of myself. If I could find a place to rest, or even if I could sleep right here in the car for a few hours along the side of the road. I was getting my winter coat out of the back seat to use as a blanket when I saw him coming toward me, emerging from the herd of moving steer.
Hello.
Spoken to him then, fought it out then and there. For now he began to be everywhere, wherever I stopped, even for a moment, for gas, for oil, for a drink of pop, a cup of coffee, a sandwich. He was there. I saw him standing outside the auto camp in Amarillo that night when I dared to slow down. He was sitting near the drinking fountain of a little camping spot just inside the border of New Mexico. Was waiting for me outside the Navajo reservation where I stopped to check my tires. And I saw him in Albuquerque when I bought 20 gallons of gas. I was afraid to stop now. I began to drive faster and faster. I was in a lunar landscape now, the great arid mesa country of New Mexico. I drove through it with the indifference of a fly crawling over the face of the moon. Now, he didn't even wait for me to stop. Unless I drove at 85 miles an hour over those endless roads, he waited for me at every other mile. I'd see his figure, shadowless, flitting before me, still in its same attitude over the cold, lifeless ground, flitting over the dried-up rivers, over broken stones cast up by old glacial upheavals, flitting in that pure, cloudless air. I was beside myself when I finally reached Gallup, New Mexico. There's an auto camp here, cold, almost deserted, this time of the year. I went inside, and I asked if there was a telephone. I had a feeling that if I could only speak to someone familiar, someone I loved, I could pull myself together.
Your call, please.
I'd like to put in a call to my home to Brooklyn, New York. I'm Ronald Adams. The number is Beechwood 20828.
Certainly. I'll try to get it for you.
New York.
Gallup, New Mexico, calling Beechwood 20828.
I read somewhere that love could banish demons. It was in the middle of the morning. I knew Mother'd be home. I pictured her tall and white-haired, in her crisp house dress, going about her tasks. It'd be enough, I thought, just to hear the even calmness of her voice.
Will you please deposit $3.85 for the first 3 minutes? When you have deposited $1.50, will you wait until I have collected the money?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, deposit another $1.50. Will you please deposit the remaining 85 cents? Ready with Brooklyn. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Mrs. Adams' residence.
Hello? Hello, Mother.
This is Mrs. Adams' residence. Who is it you wish to speak to, please?
What? Who's this?
This is Mrs. Winnie.
Mrs. Winnie? I don't know any Mrs. Winnie. Is this Beechwood 20828?
Yes.
Where's my mother? Where's Mrs. Adams?
Mrs. Adams is not at home. She's still in the hospital.
The hospital?
Yes. Who is this calling, please? Is this a member of the family?
What's she in the hospital for?
She's been prostrated for 5 days. She had a nervous breakdown. But who is this calling?
Nervous breakdown. Listen, my mother never was nervous.
Well,
in her
it's
whole
all
life.
taken place since the death of her oldest son, Ronald.
Death of her oldest son, Ronald. Hey, what's this? What number is this?
This is Beechwood 20828. It's all been very, very sudden. He was killed just 6 days ago in an automobile accident on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Your 3 minutes are up, sir. Your 3 minutes are up, sir. Sir, your 3 minutes are up.
And so I'm sitting here in this deserted auto camp in Gallup, New Mexico. I'm trying to think, trying to get a hold of myself. Otherwise, I'm going to go crazy. Outside, it's night. The vast, soulless night of New Mexico. 1 million stars are in the sky. Ahead of me stretch 1,000 miles of empty mesa, mountains, prairies, desert. And somewhere among them, he's waiting for me. Somewhere I shall know who he is and who I am.
Suspense. We will return to suspense after this word from our sponsor.
I just can't get past the idea that I'm dead.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. But it does happen to everybody. Once. Unless you're that McLean person. Your name isn't McLean, is it?
No, it's Adams.
Well, just once then.
What happens now?
Just keep driving. We will get to where we need to be in due time.
Speaking of where we are going, am I gonna like it there?
Not to worry. You are going to heaven, my friend. Now turn here and we'll get onto the 405 freeway.
Wait, you said we were going to heaven.
Pull over
the
here.
freeway at this time is...
Pull over here in front of the EJ's pub.
But there's no room for me to pull over.
All right, I'll just... And there you are. Plenty of room.
Hey, how did you do that? Why did we stop here at EJ's pub? Do we even have time for this?
No need to rush. You know, eternity and all that. Besides, I always come to EJ's when my work brings me to California. They have great food and beverages, wonderful staff, and friendly atmosphere that truly makes you feel welcomed. They show sporting events on their mini televisions, so I can see my favorite team play.
Oh, I know, the Los Angeles Angels.
Nope, the Kansas City Royals.
Huh.
EJ's Pub, 4306 Atlantic Avenue in Long Beach. Open Monday to Friday, 11:30 to 12:30, and Saturdays and Sundays, 9 to midnight. Their phone number is 562-424-5000. That's 562-424-5000. You can also reach them online at ejmalloyspub.com.
Oh, and Ronald, when the bill comes, leave a big tip. After all, you really can't take it with you.
The players for tonight's performance are Joe Montanari as Ronald Adams, Eduardo Mora as the announcer, the hitchhiker, and the gas station attendant. Joe McLaughlin as second announcer, Miss Adams, the storekeeper, and Miss Winnie. Kate Doherty as the women and long-distance operator. Live sound effects were performed by Kelly Volker. Signing for the in-studio deaf provided by Maxwell Bradney, ASL coordinator and interpreter. Chelsea Harper, ASL interpreter. The Horla and the Hitchhiker were produced by Dana Leach and directed by Joe Montanari. Tonight's engineer was Harris Stutman. LBSC technical director is Jose Castro. Our musical director is Edmund Velasco. Commercials written by Joe Montanari and Joe McLaughlin. The Horla and the Hitchhiker were performed in front of a live studio audience. For the cast and crew here at LBSC, this is Kate Doherty, wishing you a good night.
This is the LBSC Audio Theater on the web.
Thank you very much. What a great audience. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell people you don't like. We'll fill a seat with whoever. If you go out into the lobby, you can say hello to the actors. Thank you very much for coming.